Hey traders, TG Watkins here of simplertrading.com, and today we're going to be talking about how to get over a big loss. If you are going to be trading stocks and options, anything like that, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. If you haven't already experienced it, you're going to experience it at some point. So that is the first thing that you just need to accept, is that you're going to lose money. You're going to have some big losses. We try to keep them as small as possible, but sometimes they just get away from us. Sometimes a stock goes bankrupt. Sometimes things happen. And I think that if you talk to any other kind of trader, you will know that it's just the name of the game. And it's things that happen. And sometimes it is out of our control. Now, for the other times that we do have a little bit more control, then it is because of our own, say, fault, or that we didn't listen to our rules or trust that, or we wish and prayed and hoped for something better or something that was going to change. So let me kind of address a couple of those situations. The first one, maybe let's say Snapchat. Number one, was this within our control? Not necessarily, because it was based on earnings. Now, this is why I personally have a rule that I don't like to trade during earnings. I understand that sometimes as an investor, you're trying to hang on for months or years, and so you're going to be accepting a lot of risk during those earnings dates and whatever. So if you're going to be dealing with that, and if it is in your overall plan and your scope and your time horizon, then okay, fine. But if you're shorter term and you can have the ability to not trade during that, I personally don't like to trade during earnings. That means, yes, sometimes I miss out on up moves, but it also means I don't have any of these down moves, and I much rather miss a down move and then just let an up move go by. So I'd rather not lose money than just miss out on making money. That being said, if you do get into a situation like this, a lot of times when a bad piece of news, and sometimes it's not even earnings, sometimes it's just a bad piece of news that nobody saw coming, and there's nothing we can do about that. One thing that I like to do is say, and my dad actually told me, he said, it's the first loss is the best loss, meaning that usually whenever there's a big loss or something like that, just exit, just take your licks, move on. Because a lot of times, if it is actually something bad and something structural like that, then what's going to happen is you're going to get this first loss, and it's just going to keep going down for a while. And you know what? You might think, oh, I'm going to hang on to this and it's going to bounce back or something. And you know what? It's going to keep bleeding down like this, and you're going to watch it every day, and it's going to be taking up too much brain power, and it's going to be causing you problems. And you're finally going to exit, and you know what? Probably right when you exit is when it starts to go back up the other direction. So, first loss is the best loss. Just when they drop down like this, if it's big, it's most likely going to keep going. So just get out, say that sucked, that was hard, that was rough, but just move on. This is part of the name of the game. This is where position sizing comes in important, because if you had half your account in this stock and something like this happened, yeah, that's going to be a huge problem. But you know what? If you have 5 or 10% of your account and something like this happens, okay, you still got a lot of ammunition left that you can work with for something like that. So that's kind of what I would say about something like that. Another example to kind of talk about is, say, the slow bleed. And one thing to look at this is IDEX. And I was trading this both to the longs. Well, actually, I was trading it to the long side only. And we had some really good winners on this one. But then the market changed, and I saw my setups, and I was trying to take a long trade on this again. You can see my hash marks in through here of where I was trying to trade and all that kind of stuff, and where my stop losses were. And it was basically, some pros, so some negative. It wasn't really working out very well. And for me, I like to set stop losses. Now, you may not need to have a actual hard stop loss. You don't necessarily need to. I think that they're good. Or you can have a mental stop loss. But the risk you have with setting a mental stop loss is that you will change your mind, or you will talk yourself out of it. Or if something happens, you're like, oh, I can't give it up now. I've lost too much money. It'll come back. I'm just going to have to hang on to it until it comes back. And I think IDEX is a fairly good example of where I was looking at getting into here, because I thought price is going to be staying over that moving average, and it looked like price was going to be staying over this moving average. And it just didn't work out, so it rolled over, stopped us out. Like, okay, that's not fun. But I could easily see how, oh man, this was such a good stock in the back of the day, and I just don't want to give up this loss yet. Well, if I just keep hanging on to it, and you know what? There were some bumps and pops and stuff, whatever, but ever since here, it has just been trending down for 4 months. I mean, it's been months that this thing has been trending down. And if you have options, you're dead in the water because they will just evaporate. And if you have stock, well, okay, fine, but man, it just may not ever come back. I mean, we've been seeing some stuff where they might have a great heyday, and once they just give up, they give up for a long time, and you just can't ride that out. And so you can see something like this where they just deflate for a very, very long time. And I think that is something that if you get a loss, just take the loss. If you get stopped out, that's fine. It's good that you got stopped out because it means that there's probably something worse coming. And if you got stopped out, it means it didn't work. And so you just need to take that and move on and accept it and keep moving forward. And so make sure you don't get into something like this where it's a slow bleed. And if it is something else, whether it's big loss or if you give back a lot of money, hopefully you learn from it. You go back, you try and figure out what went wrong. What did you learn? What could you have figured out? What were the clues that would have told you that you needed to do something differently or read it differently or get out, something like that. But other than that, this is just the sport we play. You're going to make money. You're going to lose money. Just try and make sure that you win more often than you lose and that your wins are bigger than your losses. And if you do that, mathematically, you will succeed. And hopefully, if you guys follow any of us over at Simpler Trading or any other trader out there, hopefully they teach you some things and hopefully walk you into some safety. And then you can hopefully figure out where to go with this. And you know what? It's just going to be the emotional and mental fortitude of if you lost money, that's fine. Hopefully you were trading with money that you can afford to lose to a certain point. And then, as I said, just win more often and win bigger than you do when you lose. And over the course of time, you will build the confidence to know what to do with that. And you know what? It's just like losing a basketball game or something. You learn, you move on, and you continue forward. So hopefully that helps, guys. And I'll see you around. Thanks.
Without Simpler Trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency.
It's one of the things that won me